Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Live with Sandra V show. If we have not met before, my name is Sandra VanSickle, and for those of you that I have met, welcome back to the show. Now, you know it's my goal to inspire, educate, and promote others within the industry who share my and my husband Ken's same vision. And tonight, I certainly hope that you feel that you will get some education here and that you are inspired to step out and try some of these headrail systems, these lift systems for Roman shades. You know, there are a ton of them on the market and they can get a little bit confusing from time to time, right? So, but before I get started, I just want to say hello to everybody. If you're new here for the first time, please type that in, that say, hey, I'm new, so we can acknowledge you and so others can say hello to you too. And like I said before, for those of you who are back here again, I always love having you here. And I'm going to say, I say this every week, go ahead and put in your name, your business name if you have one, and the city and state that you reside. Because one of these days I'm going to get that map on the wall and then we're going to pinpoint where everybody's coming from. So we have a list going here because it's always nice to know where everybody is viewing from. And can you all please do me a big favor and go ahead and share this out, because it never is. There's always folks that come in afterwards, at last minute, and this way Facebook will let everybody know that we're here and ready to go. Because I know this was going to be a really important topic, or a topic of discussion, or a popular topic, whatever you want to call it tonight. Okay. So let me see if there's anybody out there that we want to say hello to. Go ahead and let me know that you're here. I have Mr. Kent over here. He never picks his head anymore to say.
Nobody wants to see me.
You can peek in and say hello.
Come in here for you.
Well, while I say hello, you can go ahead and say hello, right, everyone?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, he's something else. But anyway, hey, Sylvia, glad to have you here. Let me make sure that we've got. I don't think that I'm on the right page here. It's my fault.
Yeah, that's what I was
No
wondering.
wonder he's not getting the comments. It's my fault. Okay.
You heard that.
Yep, it's my fault. Okay, who do you got here? So we have Mary Brady from Lakeland, Florida. Hey, Mary, welcome back to the show. And Karen from United Supply. I'm glad you're here tonight. And Janice Lynn, hey, and Missy Martin. Hey, and Janice, you were one of my students in my class. And Amber from Wisconsin. I actually remember that tonight. But thank you all for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Finally.
And no smart remarks from the peanut gallery tonight.
Yes, dear.
You got a bad habit. Okay, well, you know, many of you already know I'm going to sit down tonight. I've been having some little inner ear problem. I'm a little bit dizzy. But anyway, most of you know that I was at the IWCE, the International Window Covering Expo in Nashville a few weeks ago, and had the opportunity to give a presentation on the headrail lift systems. And before I left and when I came back, I promised you all that I was going to give this presentation. And I actually, even though there are a lot of them out there, I took about 8 different lift systems just to kind of narrow it down, because there are some, and I'll talk about them in a few minutes, that are similar, but there are just a few little differences. Now, out of all the ones that I covered, I think I've used all of these at one point or another, and some I use more than others. And you may find that with yourself too. Thank you. Water appears. Anyway, so as we go on tonight, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask them, and I will stop from time to time and answer them. Okay. But really what I want to do is to simplify it for you and get rid of some of the confusion. And like I said, even though I covered about 8 of them, there's about 4 or 5 different categories out there. Okay, so I am going to start tonight by discussing some of the headrails, I'll get it out, that we call the clutch systems. And the first one I'm going to start with is going to be the RBS system. And then I'm going to talk about the Dofix Autodescend. And let me show you this shade here first. This one here I've made with the Forest Group RBS System. And RBS stands for Roman Blind System, okay? And what the clutch means, and I'm going to get some close-ups here too, so don't worry, is that there is a clutch up here on the side. If I can turn this, there's actually, a clutch here, and you have your operating cord. I think that, I read a lot of the posts out there, and everyone's asking for cordless. And there are some that do not have the operating cord, but they still have the lift cords, okay? And there is a system that doesn't have either. And I will be talking about that next week, and we'll get to that later. I want to kind of stay on topic tonight if possible. All right, so this is the RBS lift system, Forest Group. And I'm going to show you. It really, you just take and you pull the chain. And it goes through the clutch here, and it lowers and raises your shade. Now, of course, if this was in a home, there would be a tension device attached to the wall because of child safety. Okay. Now, let me get into the nitty-gritty of the Forest Group RBS system. First of all, I will tell you where I ordered mine from. I ordered mine from United Supply Company, and I've put a link to their website here in the feed. I ordered through them because they are here, and they have a location in Raleigh, and they have other locations throughout, and you can also order from them, and they will drop ship for you. Okay, they'll mail it to you, ship it to you. Okay. So with the RBS system, this is my, I'm going to say, this is my go-to system. This is the one that I use the most. And let me see if I can get some close-up now. Let me show you. Well, first of all, it comes with an aluminum, this is like an aluminum track in here. Okay. And inside, we have what we call the spool. Some of them call them drums, some of them call them spools. They have different names, but basically what they are, it's the, I'm gonna call them just spools, because they hold the lift cord inside of them. And they just kind of turn around as you pull the clutch, and the cord will wrap around these spools.
And it's done that. How does it do that?
Okay. And
by the Driveshaft in there.
That's right.
That's connected to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You always jump. He always jumps ahead of me. Maybe I should let him do it. Come on over here. So, and yes, he's right. And inside of
you
here.
Heard that again?
Yeah, he's right. I didn't really say that. Anyway, and inside of this track, this aluminum track, is a drive shaft. And if I take, now let me do a close-up. This would be much easier if I do a close-up here. Right here. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like up close. So here's the track. And here are the spools. And here is the drive shaft. Okay, and then once they all go inside, let me see. Of course, mine isn't going into another one down here. Okay, there we go. And then on the end, you have the clutch system. Okay, and this will go right on the end and push it in. And it would take me a few minutes to align that, but you need to align the drive shaft with, let me show you, go to right in here into this area of the clutch. Okay, and then once you do it, will work properly, but it does take a few minutes to do that.
Is it possible to expose the drive shaft, align it to the feature in the clutch?
You can, yes, you can do that. That would be helpful. That would be helpful. That's true.
All right,
Okay, there you go. But then when you do that, you still have to get it aligned to the last spool on the other end over here. Okay. So
just rotate it a little bit.
well, it's still more than that. Okay, there we go. All right. Until it pushes right in. Now, I like this system because I actually order it fully assembled. I've got my cord caught up in here. Okay. Let's see if I can pop that without breaking it.
Just pass it over here. I'll get it while you talk.
Okay. Yeah.
I just send it over here. I'll figure it
Okay.
out while you talk.
Okay. So we're going to let him undo that for me, and I'll carry on. Whenever possible, I like to order the whole kit. This way, for the RBS system, once I order it and I receive it, it's all together for me. I do not have to cut down anything unless I've ordered the wrong size, of course. Yeah. And I will tell you that I always order the system 1 inch smaller than my board or my shade. Okay. And whenever I receive it, whenever I order it, I tell them how many spools that I want, and I will tell them how long I want my chain to be, and what side do I want it to be on. And I also tell them that I want the bottom weight bar, and this is just an aluminum weight bar, and I believe that they call it a counterweight. And if you order it, you have to specify that. And Karen, you're out there, but I believe that there is no charge for this. Okay, but just remember to ask for it. When you when you get this, you will receive your brackets. And this particular headrail system, you can mount it to. It can be ceiling mount, it can be wall mounted, and you can also mount it to the bottom of the board, like I have done here. Okay. Now, if you do not want to mount it to a board, and you want to mount it to the ceiling or to the wall, it also has Velcro on the front. I don't know if you can tell, but if I rub it, you can tell that is the Velcro. And I know a lot of you out there will go ahead and make your shade, and some of you will put like a piece of buckram in here or a little bit of stiffener, and then you put the opposite side of the Velcro, obviously, and you will adhere it right on the top here. How many of you out there have done this? I have only.
Excuse me, Michelle Brady says she lost you.
Oh, did you? Am I still there?
I can see it.
Oh, and did you lose me? How did you lose me? What I was talking about, or any other comments?
Sure. Let's see. We got Doris Ingersoll.
Hey, Doris.
Another name, Whitrig. She's from Zionsville, Indiana.
Okay.
Do Designs. And then Mary Brady mentioned that your hair looks great.
Thanks, Mary.
And then there's Debbie Mecom here.
Hey, Debbie. Debbie is international.
And Michelle's now, she says you're back. I'm not sure.
Okay, it must be.
It was when you were talking about the mounting.
Oh, about the mounting? Okay. Yep, because these will come with the brackets. And let me get a close-up of the brackets here.
And also, Melissa Hammond is watching.
Hey, Melissa.
And, Donna Cash is here.
And Donna.
And Terry Knight.
Okay, hey, Terry. Good to have everyone here tonight. Okay, so here are, here's one type of bracket. And then this is an older bracket that I still have, and I'm not sure if they still make them or not. But then I also have this bracket, and this bracket you can use to mount to the bottom of a board, and you can mount it to the wall. And there is another one like this that doesn't have this back piece that will allow you to mount it to the ceiling. And there is also another bracket that I do not have yet and I've not used, and I think some of you may have used it, and it's rounder in shape, and I think that it has this little lever on it, but it's more of a round disc. How many of you use that? And I'll take this shade down in just a few minutes to show you, get a close-up of that as well. Now, I want to show you something up here. I don't know if you can see it from a distance from where you are, but do you see how the workroom valet has slid right in underneath the board, but on top of the lift system? That is because I have taken a couple of little round washers, and I've placed the washers under the board, and placed the bracket on top, and then screwed it all down into the board. And that is because these brackets, once you put the headrail into these brackets, you don't have a gap up here. And so when the installer goes to install them, they actually, or he's had to take the headrail system out of the brackets to slide it onto the, and then put it on the L brackets, and then put the headrail back up. Does that make sense? Did I lose you? Basically, there's no gap in here when you mount these headrail systems onto the board. And you can't pretend like this is an L bracket, pretend like the valet is an L bracket. And when you go to put it up there, there's no place to do it. So you got to take the headrail off, bring it down, put it on the L brackets, and then snap it back in. And I don't think it's easy to do, is it?
Some people, maybe not.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Also, one of the reasons that I like this lift system is that it's very low profile. And the system itself, I'm going to peel this back a little bit. I am going to do a close-up with it. And it is very small. It's about 1 and I have it all written down. I do have my sheet that I had at the IWCE. The projection of the system is 1 3/8 inch. So you can put this system on a 1.5 inch board. You see, I have it on a 2-inch board. So you can put it on a 1.5 inch board. You can put it on a 2-inch board. You could even put it on a 3 or 3.5 inch board. It doesn't matter. And because it's such a slimline headrail system, you can, it really makes for a nice inside mount as well as outside mount. All right. Now, another great feature of the RBS system that I really, really like is that right on the end of the clutch, I don't know if I put it up there. I'll put my finger behind it. There you go. See that little eyelet? I really like that feature because that little eyelet, I'll take this down now. That little eyelet really gives you some flexibility whenever you're stringing your.
Put the next one up.
Sure. Give you a little bit of flexibility whenever you're stringing your shade. Now you all know that the regulations say that our lift cords need to come in on the back side at least 2 inches. But I know some of you like to bring them in a little bit further, maybe 2.5, and some people bring them in 3 or 4 inches. So this little eyelet gives us a little bit more flexibility because we can take the lift cord and run it over past the this area here into the eyelet so that it will fall nicely in line with your lift cord. Okay, so it gives you a little bit more flexibility. I've not seen that on any of the other systems. And I'm going to give you a close-up on that. Turn it around. Okay, so you can see how I don't have it in this one because it was better to leave it right where it was. Okay, now here when I have a close-up, you can see where the little screws are, and all you have to do is loosen those screws, And let me show you on this one because they're loose here. And these little spools push back and forth, and they line up easily with your lift cords. Now, another great thing about this system is that, like I said, when it comes to you, it already has the cord onto the spools, so you do not have to put the lift cord onto here. Here's another hint. If you have to take your headrail apart to put on a new spool, an extra spool, or take one off, always remember to look at the position of the lift cords on the ones that are in the headrail and how they are wound inside the spool. Because if you have one spool that has one extra rotation than the others, whenever you put that system down and whenever you bring it back up, it's going to be at a different rotation, and it is going to be, it will not be level. And you're going to rack your brain, and it's going to drive you crazy, because if you push it, if you bring it down, it's even, or if you pull it up, it's not, one or the other, but it will drive you crazy. So always remember, if you have to take a spool off or put another one on, then always make sure, and you can look down in there and you can see, I don't know if you can see it if I give you a close up, we'll see if you can. It's hard to see because there's a lot of white here, but if you look real close, you can see the cords on here, down in that spool. Okay, any questions?
Janice Lent mentioned that she used them in your class, and then made a third shade for her kitchen. I think you might have been talking about the swivel brackets, perhaps. I'm not sure.
No, the RBS system.
Oh, the RBS
yep,
system.
the RBS system. Yep.
And then Linda Erlin from BC, British Columbia.
Linda.
Did you say something about will you rebroadcast?
Will I rebroadcast?
Yeah.
This? Yeah. This.
Sure.
Oh yes, this will be recorded. So if anybody wants to come back and listen to this later, the recording will stay here on the Facebook group. But I'm also going to take it off and I'll put it onto my YouTube channel. Sometimes it's easier to get to, and because this is going to be a series of the different headrail systems, because I did 8 in an hour, and I don't think I did them any justice. So I'm going to break them down per category. And then it'd be easier for you to go back and look on there. Now, my YouTube channel, very easy, Live with Sandra V. Okay? So, all right.
And also, we got some more people watching, but they didn't say anything.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Let me know that you're here, and share this out and say hello to others, too. Okay. What else can I tell you about this? All right. So I talked to you about the projection and the width. You can order RBS systems from 18 inches wide, as small as 18 inches, and up to 228 inches. But of course, you'll have your different gears. You'll have the different spools that will go inside, and make sure that you have plenty. If you're going to have a really wide shade, and depending on what kind of fabric that you have, if you have the line and inner line or blacked out, make sure you have enough spools. Okay, so I think I have covered everything on the RBS system. Does anybody else have any questions on it?
Linda from BC, she mentioned it's a great idea to have all the headrails explained. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like I said, I want to try to break it down. And as I mentioned when I first came on, there are about 4 or 5 different categories depending on how you look at them. And of course, we have that old cord lock, and honestly, I don't even use it anymore. I think within the standards, there's special circumstances that you can use it. Sometimes there are folks that that will need that cord lock for certain reasons, but read the regulations, because that cord cannot hang any more than 40% of when that shade is fully up in the air. And
40% the length of the shade.
I'm sorry, 40% the length of the shade. Sorry. So yeah, just be very careful about those, and read those standards to make sure that you understand them. If you don't, we do have Will Lynch from Safety Shade has covered all of the safety standards in a recorded video on my YouTube channel as well.
And that was in December
Yes,
last year.
it was December 4th, I believe. So anyway, so like I said, we've got the clutch systems. And I'm going to talk about Dofix in a minute. And then next week, I'm going to talk about the spring systems. I'm going to talk about the Safety Shade Cordless Pro wideband lift system. That is the one that does not have, it doesn't have lift cords, and it doesn't have the operating cords. And everyone's talking about that, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. We're going to talk about Easy Spring Plus, and I know out there on one of the Facebook pages, people are talking about this other new system. I've got one on order, and hopefully it will be here, and I'll cover that one as well. Okay, and then in a couple weeks, I'm going to talk about motorized, and there's different types of motorization, and so I'm not going to get into all of that right now because it would just, I don't want to confuse anybody, but I'm going to talk about that. And also in the very last series, I want to go into home automation with like, I can't say it out, can't say it too loud because we have one, Alexa. And so we're going to talk about that as well. Okay, we got questions.
Yeah, Mary Brady, she asked, do you always mount on a board?
Pretty much, yes. Good question, Mary. I do. You know, sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks. To me, there's just something about having my shade on a board. I just love it. Like I said, I have used the Velcro method, and it just, I don't know, I've seen some workrooms, they get it so perfect, and I love it. And I've promised someone that I do work for that I am going to try to use it a little bit more, but I don't know. I just love this method, and I've also mastered the little continuous tabs on the side, and I could do that with the Velcro as well. But yeah.
Also, one note on the Velcro one, if you use Velcro,
Yeah.
you need to make sure that the strip that's adhered to the fabric is down low enough on the top so that you can adjust the shade up in order to hide the brackets. Otherwise, you're going
Right.
to see the brackets and,
Yeah.
and daylight coming through.
Yeah, and that's,
it's an inside mount.
did everybody hear what he said? That is probably why I am not fond of the Velcro method, and maybe just I didn't do it right. But yes, you have to make sure that you mount the Velcro just right so that the shade comes up above. Here, let's get a close up view. That, you know, make sure. See, you have a space right here, and then here's your Velcro. So make sure that you mount it, the Velcro on the face, the back of the fabric, just right, so that the top of your shade will come up above here just a little bit, because remember there's going to be a bracket there, and you're going to have a little bit of a space. Okay, just a tiny space, and you want to cover that, so you can see the light coming out from there. But anyway, yeah.
You got Lynn Martin. Not sure how to pronounce her last name.
Yeah.
She says the RBS system looks similar to the Easy Rig from Rolly.
Yes.
Do you know how they compare in price?
They're very close in price, and I meant to say that at the beginning of the show, that I'm not going to talk about pricing because this is a public show, and different companies. Some people might get industry discounts, and some people might not, and some people might not even have access, to wholesale, and some may. So, but yes, they're very, very close. And as a matter of fact, I did bring a spool because I have used that system as well. And with their system, putting the cords in the spool are just a little bit different. But other than that, they're very similar. And but they do not have the little eyelet. And I think you can order a kit from them. And again, I like ordering kits because I do have some bits and pieces here, but I do not like having bits and pieces all around. I know a couple spools here and there will come in handy if something breaks, but for the most part, how many of you have pieces of that the Rolly traversing clutch system, the one that's got the spines in it? the one that we probably started with about 20 years ago, and we have a zillion pieces around. And if you cut the rod, it's got fiberglass on it. I know if you guys have cut them, you know what I'm talking about, right? But here, this one, yeah, here's this wool. I'll get a close up. This is the one from Rowley, W-R-O-W-L-E-Y. And if I get that out, maybe you can see it better. And so see, it's how it goes in and screws down to the track. It's a little bit different. And then here's a little white, it looks like a little bead almost, and that's where the cords go through. And there's a little slot right in here that it goes down into. And whenever I use these systems, I'm always nervous that the cord's going to come out. So I always add a little bit of glue. Okay. Now, I didn't begin with this statement, but now that a lot of you are here, let me just say that this, well, the question is, what system should I use? What's the best system? And really it depends on you, partly, the knowledge that you have and how comfortable you feel with some of these systems. But it really depends on your client. And if your client's the designer, then it depends on the end user, right? And where is it going to go? Is it going to go, in a child's room? Is it going to go over the kitchen sink? Is it going to go on a French door? Do you need a low profile? Do you want motorized and things like that? So, there's a lot to think about, because as we get into, I'm going to talk about the motorized wand system at some point and where it has its uses. So I think the clutch system is, I don't know, I think it's the easiest to use, and I think it can go in a lot of different applications or rooms or windows, you should say. Okay, because it makes these also, if you put two of them together, but you have to put them on a larger head rail, about a 3.5-inch head rail. You can do top down, bottom up with two of these together. I've done it, and it works pretty good, but it does make for a larger projection. And so I don't think that it would work really well on, say, a French door. Okay. Any questions?
Mary Brady says Rolly ships the round rod in their kit. I'm not sure what the round rod is.
W-R-O-W-L-E-Y. Rowley does. Okay. At the bottom, you're talking about the bottom weight bar, instead of being flat, that it's round. I think that's what you're talking about. Okay. Okay. For a little head rail, there's a lot of information, isn't there? But I think all around, one of my favorites and easiest to use. And again, as you get ready to take that system, one more close up, and I'm going to move on. Once you take that system and you screw your brackets down, I might need your help because my fingers are sore.
I might need some help.
Okay, here, you push that one in. You just push this, the bracket in. I'm going to push this little lever right here in, and I'm going to tilt it.
Which way are you tilting it?
I tilt it back, or forward, I guess. Okay, let me just show you how easy this is. Okay, so all I've done here is place the brackets, place the brackets in, and let me show you real quick. Can you see this little gap down in here? I'll show you. If you look down in there, you can just kind of see the two little washers that I have, and just a little gap that gives me. All right, but anyway, I will screw my, let me get the other view here. I screw my brackets into place, and I line them up. I always line mine up, if it's a small board, toward the back of the board, and then I just take the head rail and got a lot of stuff up here. Let me get this so you can see it. And I just take it, and you can see the little groove in the groove, and I'm gonna line that groove right up with these little teeth. There's little teeth in here, It's like a little spring system. I tilt it forward, grab both sides, and I just pop it in. And that's it. It just snaps in there. So that's all you have to do. Okay, so I hit the wrong button. You order it assembled, and you just put the brackets on, adjust your cords where they need to go, and you're ready to go. All right. Any questions? Any comments?
The weight bar was what Mary Brady was referring to.
Okay. So, yeah. Everybody has. Some of them have different types of weight bars. Okay. Put my chair back here. All right. So the next system I want to talk about is the Dofix Autodescend, and it is considered to be how do they term it? Semi-automatic, and it too will come assembled. Can I get this to you? Get this out of my way here. A lot of cords. Okay. Okay. And it too will come fully assembled. And it's the same kind of, it's a clutch system. And here you have the clutch system. And it is a very, very small projection. And the projection is only 1 inch. So you could really put this in the little small inside mount areas, as well as outside. And you see again, I have put mine on a board. And yep, it's 1 inch, and my board is only 1.5 inch. I don't have any returns on here because I was demoing it. And it also has the Velcro. The Velcro along the front, just like the RBS system. And it also has the spools on the inside with the lift cord. And what makes this one so special is the auto descend. So this is a Dofix Autodescend headrail lift. I always call them headrails, but lift system. And this little mechanism right here on the side is the auto descend piece, or whatever auto descend part. Anyway,
Technology.
The technology. That's right. And here is their weight bar. They have a nice little heavy flat weight bar, because that's the thing with the RBS. I'm going to call it RBS. That's the thing with the auto descend. You really need some weight for this to come down, because I'm going to show you how it works. You've got it in the up position, and all you have to do is to give it a tug, and it comes down all by itself. And this is why they call it semi-automatic.
It's caught on the stand.
Oh, is it caught on the stand? I think, why isn't that coming down? It should, because it always does. Okay. I'm going to pull it down. I've got it caught back here. Okay. Isn't that cool? How many of you have tried this before? It's really neat. It's a really neat system. And this one here, it has the tension hold down. Make sure you never, if you're an installer or with an installer, don't ever, ever, ever leave a home without these chains being properly adhered to the wall. Okay. All right. So that is the auto descend. I really like it. It has applications, and again, the brackets will allow you to mount it to the board, to a ceiling or wall. Let's see if this goes here. Oh, my little thing. I see what's doing. Yeah, there you go. And it needs. Oh wait. I'm getting caught here. Okay. I know this one works because we use them here in the studio. Okay. So any questions yet?
Yeah, Doris is asking what size. Can you show what size L brackets you use to mount without removing the system?
This auto descend.
In general, I think it was before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the. Let me give you the close up. This was the Forest Group. Wrong one.
I think she's referring to the angle irons if it's mounted on the door.
Oh, the L brackets?
Yes.
I don't have any L brackets here in my workroom. That's his job, and he doesn't have any on him right now. But
I've purchased them through Rolly Company.
Yeah.
I always get the white ones,
Mhm.
and they're just whatever size is appropriate. I have a variety of sizes
You should
from
come
1
in,
inch,
you can see.
1 inch up to 4 inch, normally stocked, and I have additional ones for those specialty installs.
Okay, does that help? They're just the little L brackets that go into the wall. They kind of look like, well, they're like an L bracket, not really like this. Did that answer your question? Was it Mary?
She hadn't responded.
Okay, let me know if that's what you were talking
That was
about.
door section.
Doors, I'm sorry. Had Mary. Okay, so it comes fully assembled as well, and you can order this. The width wise is about 20 inches wide that you can order it, up to about 118 inch. And the weight limit is somewhere within the 15-pound. And that's the thing with a lot of these is, when they're telling you your weight limits, well, how do you know how much it weighs? And the best thing to do is to get on a scale and weigh yourself, and then get the fabric that you're going to be using. And if you have to fold it up a little bit, and then get on the scale again and weigh it. And that will give you kind of an indication of how much the lift, how much the weight of the fabric is going to be. And I think you might know too, you can just kind of gauge it. Let's see. So the really good thing, again, that I like about this one is the really small projection. Now this one too has certain windows that it can and cannot go into. And I think this one here it might be a little learning curve for some of your clients to make sure that they're educated to know how it operates. It's kind of cool. We had a big job down at a beach home 3 hours away, and I thought that would be kind of neat to put it into this beach home. Then I thought, they're going to be renting that out, and the renters would, probably would not know how it works, or maybe it was broken. I know in here it's like I said, it's here in the workroom. And one of my granddaughters let it down one day, and she was just mortified. She thought she had broken the shade, and came running in and said, "Grandma, I broke your shade." And I said, "No, you didn't. That's the way it operates." So keep that in mind. Again, know your client and what their needs are. Any question on this system?
Dorsa thinks, I guess, about the Albright.
Okay. Let's see. Well, let me get a little close-up of this to let you know how this looks. So again, you see the clutch, and they have like more of a clear chain, and here is their tie down. Now I've never really installed one of these tie downs, so I'm not sure how they go.
You just pinch it back to the wall and push screw through it.
Okay, just pinch
Just
it.
like you got it right there.
Just like that. You pinch it just like that, and you put a screw right through here.
Yeah, honey, where are your fingers at? There's a hole in the plastic.
Oh, right here? Okay.
Right where your
Oh,
fingers at.
that makes sense. I just learned something. Okay, can you all see? It almost looks like
It's spring loaded.
spring loaded. Here, if I turn it sideways, let me put this white behind it. My camera's bouncing off the white balance here. Okay, well there's a little hole right in here, and you can pinch it. If I turn it sideways, if you pinch it, and then you put this up to the wall, and right where the hole is down where I'm pinching it, put a screw through there, and that will hold that chain into place. Okay. And here there are little spools, and you see the eyelet, and then here's the cord coming out, and you line the eyelet up right with your line of cords, your line of rings. And then right here, this one always got me a little bit too. If you can see this little lever is up, that's the lock for each spool. There's one for each spool, and if you just take it and slightly push it down, it will lock that spool into place so that it will not shift when it's in operation. And again, on the other side is the auto descend mechanism. And if you, it kind of moves, it kind of floats in there a little bit. But if you have to take the headrail apart, it's very easy. Just like the other one, there's just a few screws here. Just let them take it out. So you have to remove a spool, put one in. Then make sure you put that auto descend back in the right direction. Okay, so Ken, you have a question?
Those screws, is that to remove it from the headrail, or is that to remove the chain if you got to replace the chain with a smaller or shorter one?
Well, that's a good point. Yes, that is actually.
It's probably just pressed in there.
Yeah, this one might be pressed in there. You're right.
I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
sure.
Yeah, that is if you need to replace the chain. Sorry, he's right.
On this end over here, I think
That's the other end.
the mechanism is screwed in
Yeah.
there.
Yep, the end cap is screwed in there. So, all right. But again, they're easy. If you order them and they have one too many spools, or you need another one to put on there, they're just very easy to take out. And this one has the drive shaft in it, just like the RBS system does. This one actually comes with the opposite side of the Velcro. The RBS system does not. At least I've never ordered it. I don't think so, Karen, if you're out there, if you know, I've never received one, but it comes automatic with the Dofix Autodescend. How many of you have used Dofix out there before? Because real briefly, they also have other types of lift systems. They have one for arch shape shades as well. And then they have another one that like a track. I've never used it, but it'd be interesting to try at some point. So, okay.
Mary Brady mentioned that you might want to mention that the cord size is smaller.
Yes, thank you. I always do forget that. Yes, this cord size in here is smaller. And as a matter of fact, let me take mine down and show you. They come with, oh boy, I'm going to forget this one. I did bring a package in here. They come with a package, and Mary, do they come with the, I use ladder tape on this one because I wanted to try it. I can't remember if they come, I think they come with shroud tape, don't they? And I wanted to try the ladder tape. I've tried it years ago. And I've used the ladder tape. You can see here, it's a ladder tape. I have used the ladder tape with the ring, with the rings and the ring lock. But I read somewhere that I didn't have to do that, that I can use the ladder tape and go ahead, and I tacked it real tightly, just like I would a ring, my 8 inches apart. And then I did a little dab of glue on there. And then I did put the lift cord, of course, through the ladder tape. Yes.
Janice says you can only use the cord from Dofix.
Yes, that's true. Yep. And did you know that there are 2 size cord locks? Go ahead.
Mary Brady, probably just what we were getting ready to talk about, has safety chain has cord locks that will fit the Dofix cord.
Yes, they do. They have 2 sizes, and so make sure that you get the smaller one. I think it's a 0.4, I believe. So they do. And I didn't know that. That's something that I just found out about, I know, just a few months ago. And they still have some of the longer ones left. I like to use the longer ones for my stationary shades, but they're going to phase those out, just so you know. If you want any, they still have some. Order them. But yeah, they have 2 different hole sizes for the ring locks. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a lift system. I have this lift system on my table. This very second, I was going to make a sample.
Yes.
Very timely video.
Good. I hope.
That was Sherry Stouffer. Sorry.
Oh, okay, Sherry. How you doing? I hope that this helps with the clutch systems. Like I said, there are Rowley, WROWLEY. They do have one out there too, and I didn't show it because it was very similar to the RBS. and I have used that one. And let me see, I'm gonna check my notes because I want to make sure I've told you everything. Yep.
Jan Fraser says you look extra pretty tonight.
Thank you.
And Mary Brady says great job.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Again, the pros and cons. I love ordering a kit, and these are easy to mount. Ceiling, wall, board, Velcro, small projections, and I think the weight limits. Just always, if you have questions about the weight limits, go ahead. And I know some of us try to push the limits one way or the other, but no, if this one isn't heavy enough, it won't work properly. Yes.
And Mary Brady's asking which lift system do you prefer to use on French doors?
With French doors, I would probably use the RBS system. Yeah, I usually do use the RBS system, and I would use between these two really, but the RBS mostly. The Dofix one, depending on the client, if that's something that they would like, then I would use that one as well. And I think that I don't know that there's a big price difference. I'm not real sure. A lot of times when I use the Dofix, I have my designers. I have a designer who uses it a lot, and she brings the systems to me. So it's been a while since I've purchased one myself. Okay.
How do you attach returns on a 1.5-inch board?
Returns.
Mary Brady also.
Okay. I know there are different ways to attach the returns. You can go ahead and make your small tabs and attach them to the top and maybe 1.5 inches to the face, and then staple your shade on top. Some folks will go ahead and just use some make a little tab and put Velcro just on the very end and let it come down. But like I said, I have recently mastered the I call it the UK way of having the continuous tab. Let me see if I can grab this one again. I have a different method that I teach from a lot of other folks, and so I know that some people have tried this method, but I needed to integrate this method within my construction method. And I finally, before I went to the IWCE, I was determined. Last year I started doing it, and then before I left, all my shades that I made for the IWCE, I made sure that I integrated this. And as you can see, it's a continuous. It's not a separate flap. It's the continuous flap.
And I'm not sure which one Sherry's referring to, but another beautiful fabric. And where's that one from?
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you for asking. This one here, I've had this for a few years. I bought it locally, but it's been out there, so I'm not really sure where you can purchase it from. This fabric here comes from Greenhouse. So yeah, I don't have the name of it, but I should have put that on there. Okay. Any other questions?
Sherry, thank you for sharing.
Okay. I have a really important announcement, so I hope you all will stick around because I'm going to share it with you. I've been excited about this and sent some teasers out there. But before I do tell you that, I just want to let everyone know that next week, like I said, the goal is to cover Safety Shade Cordless Pro. Everyone wants to know about that. And then the Easy Spring Plus. And if I get the new system in, I'll definitely talk about that. But, okay, here's my big announcement. I have about 7 minutes. Let's see if I can do this because y'all might have some questions. And I hope I've said hello to everybody that's out there and answered all the questions first.
I guess Sherry was talking about the Dofix floral. Where does that fabric come from?
Oh, this one? I don't know. This is the one I have had for probably about 3 or 4 years now. If I see it out there, I'll let you know. I purchased it at a local fabric store. And so I don't know, but I have seen other people use it. But I do love it too. Thanks. Okay. So here's my announcement. I am just really excited to announce something new that's going to be happening here in the studio. This has, without me really knowing, been in the making for probably about 4 or 5 years now. Okay, and um, I am going to start doing live online training classes. And what does that mean? That means that you can learn from your very own workroom or your very own workspace. And I will be teaching it live. The students will be in, like I said, their own workspace, and you will be in a very exclusive, closed down group, and you will be able to watch what I'm doing and sew, and I should say fabricate, right along with me. And you don't have to worry about, traveling, food, lodging, meals, trying to get away from your home. I know I say that lightly because I know some people who've come here for training and they're like, I am so glad to be away from home. I can hardly stand it. you know. But that isn't the case for everybody. And so, like I said, I am just so excited to be able to offer this. And so when students sign up, like I said, they will gain access in a very exclusive group, and you'll be able, like I said, to ask questions. I have the cameras here so that you can have close-up shots, and we will integrate some breaks in there. And most of all, I think the biggest feature is that every that you'll have access to the recordings of that lesson for about 2 weeks, and you'll be able to stay in that group for 2 weeks and go back and have access to the replays, because every session during that training day will be recorded, and I will break it down. I'll be saying, okay, step one, this is what we're going to do, and it will be recorded, and then the whole thing will be recorded, and then we'll stop. We'll take a break, and then say, okay, you guys, come back in about 15 minutes or whatever it is, and then we're going to start step two. And we'll start step two. You'll be watching me actually sew, and then you will go sew. Now, what does this mean for you? What kind of a commitment does it mean for the students? And the biggest commitment is that it will be a day of training, and we want you to treat it as such. Come prepared. You will get a list of the supplies and the tools and the materials that you need. If we're working on Roman shades, the price includes your headrail system that we're going to be working on for that class, and then it will be shipped directly to you, so that you'll have it before the class. But I want you to come prepared, ready to go the day of class, just like you would at any other in-person, hands-on class, because it's an investment of your time, in your business. So I am, like I said, so excited. I think all the things that I have learned in the last 4, 5, 6 years have led me to this point. And I've had so many of you reach out to me and say, Sandra, I want to come for training, but I just can't get away. Right? There's always something, and I just think it's really, it's time. And so I hope that some of you will be able to join me in there, if you or if there's a class that I haven't put out there. Please give me some suggestions, because I'm open to them. Of course, I'm going to be starting with Roman shades. It's what I do the most. I'll talk about panels and balances, and there's other things. And sometimes every now and then we might be able to throw out some other kind of training, little things here and there, maybe half days, whatever. But anyway, I have put a link into my website in the feed. And I have 2 classes that you can register for right away. One that will be coming soon that you can't register for yet. There were some little glitches with the website, not the website, but it was there were some glitches, technical glitches today. But there'll be more coming. I know spring and summer are going to get pretty rough with Easter and spring breaks and things like that. But we'll be able to hit it hard later in the summer and the fall. So again, I hope it's something that you might be interested in. If you aren't, if you know somebody else that will be great. And one other thing, I said with the recordings, you'll have access to that group for 2 weeks. And after that, for any of you who are in that class, if you want to purchase that recording for say a year, for a nominal fee, you'll be able to do that so that you have access. And the reason that we limit the access is because a lot of us are procrastinators, right? And we won't finish the class. And I want everyone to be successful and finish the class. So if we put a little bit of deadline on that you got to learn this, just get it done, because I will want to see pictures. And we will come into the group, and I will do a live session in the group where you can come in personally if you do not have a fear of being on camera within the group, and ask me questions if you want to, so we can have a one-on-one chat. Up to you. So tell me what you all think. Is there any questions?
No.
Okay. So, and what's great too, if our international friends would like to join in, they can too. So, all right. Well, I think, are out of time for tonight. And again, thank you everyone. And I really look forward to seeing you all next week as we cover 2-3 more head rail systems. Thanks everyone. See you next week.